Alright, look what we picked up here. This is a Craftsman professional 4-cycle backpack blower. We found this at a yard sale for $5. But the problem is it's a basket case. We got almost everything with it. It's missing some of the screws that go around the case. I think I have some of those. It's missing the screws that hold the tank on. That had all the tubes. It's like three tubes that go to it. Has the backpack piece. And thankfully, all of this is intact. As far as I know, it works. Yeah, it's moving the carb, so all that's intact. And it did have the screws that hold the piece for the back, where the where it hooks around you to hold it to your back. Now the issue with it is, from what the guy at the yard sale was telling me, is he had an issue with it running, obviously. But said his neighbor told him it needed a carburetor. I'll get this over here out of the way. Needed a carburetor, so he went ahead and got a carburetor for it. Threw new carb on it, and after he done that, he never had time to put the carburetor on it. Was going to put new fuel lines on it, and it kind of got set to the side and never messed with it. So he said after sitting in his garage for 2 years, he got tired of looking at it, tossed it in the yard sale, $5. So we went ahead and bought it. But he did have no clue where the screws are for this. It's missing, I don't know, 5 or 6 screws there. 2 or 3 screws to hold the tank in place. No air filter. But he said it did run. He had already said it'd run for a few minutes and stop, run for a few minutes and stop. So he put this new carb on it, and then never tried to start it after that. So it does have, seems to, and it has compression. I was saying it is 4-cycle, so you have your tank, takes unleaded gas. Right here's where your oil goes in, if it has any in it or not. It looks like it's empty, but so we have to get some oil to throw in it. But it does all the mixing on its own. It did have was it a Ryobi or one of them? I think it was Ryobi, but that thing worked great. Ended up getting rid of it. But so these things are pretty basic, but we never know. Never know what you're going to run into. It's someone else's project, I guess, is the best way to put it. But if it works, it'd be great, because it's getting to be that time of year where it would actually be really useful for a guy to do some work for on the side. It's kind of like my part-time job that I do, and so this would actually come in really handy as soon as the leaves start falling. But let me see, before we try to start it, I need to find some screws that'll fit this. So I got a handful of them around here somewhere, so I'm going to take a look for those and see if I can find them. So I'm going to try to start it with 1 or 2 screws only being on that and it flapping around. So let's see if we dig around, find some screws, and see what we can get into. Alright, managed to get all the screws in. So I saved a bunch of them from some of the old trimmers and stuff that we had. So a lot of that stuff gets recycled. But before we recycle it, I always take all the extra screws out and hang on to them. Stuff like this is why I do that. So I kind of saved my butt in this one's case. So before I take it any farther, I had enough screws where it mounted the 2 pieces back together. Was able to get the tank on. And before we take it any farther, I want to see if it runs. Behind this case is where the spark plug is at. So I don't want to put too much effort in it and it doesn't run, So what we're going to do is move this tripod out of the way here. We'll just give it a little spray of juice and see if it hits. Not a lot, just a choke. There we go. Choke's open. Just enough. Open that carb up to see if it'll do anything. There we go. Yeah, stuff stinks. So, it's kind of the moment of truth. Either it hits, tries to start, run, die, who knows, but we're about to find out. So. Yeah, it's firing. So that's a bonus. Yeah, if we clear over there, I'd try to, I don't know, if it fires. I can't, I yank it off the table if I try to work the throttle with one hand and yank it with the other. So, since it does fire, we can throw fuel lines on it, which shouldn't be too bad. You got your carb right here, the two prongs are sticking down. You got one here in the front, one here on the side, and then right below your this is where your oil goes. Right below it, kind of see one of the holes there. You got one hole here, and then straight diagonal from it right here is the other one underneath the carburetor. So hunt down some fuel line here real quick. We'll run some fuel line, get some fuel, some oil. Let's see if this old dog runs, man. It's from, according to the label on it, it's a 32cc from 2008. So we'll see. Hopefully it runs, because I could definitely use this. $5. Need some fuel lines. I'll take it all day long. I'll show you a little trick you can use. Some people know right off the bat. Some don't. And this one's case. Oh, excuse me. I'll show you a little something you can try if you're not sure. I'm sure you can get online and look at the fuel diagram. But if you're not sure, you get your hose. This one's case, we have a bottle of mechanic in a bottle, which will be going into the 2-cycle, or the, well, we have 2-cycle for the chainsaw, and then I'll mix some up with straight gas for this as well. You can stick one end down in there, one on the tube, or on the tube of the carb. Pump your primer. This one's case, it's not pulling up, it's blowing air. So since it's blowing air into the bottle, we know it's the return line for the tank. So switch them. Now it should draw the fluid. There it goes, right up into the line. So not a problem at all. So now you have it figured out which one's which. Pull it back off. Boop, boop, boop. Pull it back down in there. So now we know which line's which. Now the good thing is, get this out of the way. Now you know which line on the carb goes to where. Now it's just a matter of running them. Easy task. Well, majority of them it's an easy task. So now we know this is our main fuel line. The one on the inside is our return line. So now the fun part will be running them. If I get this to go down some. From the tank. I have to try to prop it up. This tripod, man, I need a new tripod so bad. There we go. So there's no real big trick. You know, you guys have seen all kinds of videos, and I'm not the only one that does this. There's thousands of videos out there. People that do this stuff on YouTube. So we just have to prop it up. And this one's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see just because of the placement of the lines here, so I'll do the best I can to get you in there. So this one, that's our main. This one back here is the return. So if you look, it's a straight down shot on your tank here. So the one on the inside right here, that'll be the return. This one will be your main line. So they should both just drop straight down and in. So this one looks like the hardest one to reach. Might be, no, get this out of the way. Let's see what we got here. Get this cap off. It's probably going to be our main line because it's tucked. Get this out of the way so if you guys can see a little better. It's tucked behind this kind of. So now you can see it right below it. Right here is your main line. So it's kind of like in this way on the tank. So it's kind of like in like that. So that's kind of where these, if they're long enough to where we can get a hold of it, to where, because they're curved. We've got the small pair, which will probably be, well, the big ones might work. So I got two pair, one big, one small here. So you just got to figure out which one works best for you. So the line for this one is a bigger line, and diameter wise it's a longer line. So I'm going to run the tank first. So with that, as usual, we cut at an angle. Helps feed it down through the tank. Some of these, like this one here, it's a little bit thicker tank. Get you some 2-cycle. Just give it a little dab on there. And a little bit more than that. There we go. Just a little bit of 2-cycle oil in there, and it'll help it slide down into the tank. Just like that. Okay. So that's our main line. Now, problem is if you do the main line first, which like I was saying, it's a straight shot, it goes right there. Now you're going to have to, I don't know how much of a fight it'll create to get to the back one, but that one back one might be pretty easy actually. So start pushing. There we go. It's going. Should be able to get a hold of it now. It's the longest part of the whole process. I don't even know. I might have, if I'm lucky, there we go, air filler that'll fit this. Yeah, see that 2-cycle, it slides down in there pretty slick. Some people they'll get a hold of them like this and they'll just twist them. I don't like twisting them. I'd rather just let them slide. Get a grip on it again. Let it slide, but you know, to each their own. Just want to make sure you get enough. Looks like we're probably really close to the back of the tank. Curving up, yeah. So a little bit more, and we should be good. There we go. So now, get a hold of it, draw it out, clip it off to where it's flat. Done deal. Okay, so now get the fuel filter. Get the fuel filter on. All right, let's wrestle this dude on there. Some of these are bare. There we go. So now let's feed it down. Just want to make sure it goes flat in the tank. Because at this point, just give it a little shake. Yeah, it's binding up. Because if you do have it too long, you can draw, but you wait until you cut this off for the carb. In case you need to take more in or more out, or you don't want to screw yourself. There we go. So it should be good. Yep. Okay, so it takes care of that one. So now we can cut it to length for the carburetor, which should be Yeah, right about there. Yeah, come on. Let it slide on a little bit. Boom. There it is. Cool bet. One thing I don't like though is it's kinda, yeah, a little big deal. As long as it's out of the way, catching on anything. So now you have your return line, same way. You gotta remember the return line on the tank does not have to be good like an inch inside the tank, so it ain't like you're feeding it all the way down in like your main line. But the same concept here. Get it at an angle. A little bit of 2-cycle. This one's a little stiffer. So I was debating on whether or not to do the inside first. Sometimes it's easier to do the one on the inside, gives you a little bit more room. See if we can. There we go. She's starting to go now. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. Can't quite see it in there yet. I like to get them. I just run them into where once I can look down through the hole. Nope, it wasn't. Oh, I got a burr on it. You see there? A burr sticking out. I just run them in enough where I can see the tank or see it poking in through the tank. It usually gives me about an inch, inch and a half inside. Get that crap off there. There we go. Let's try it now. Almost the story of my life. Twist. There we go. Now we're good. So it's in there, probably close to 2 inches. So now, same way. Get over here where I can see it. Yep, right about here. Should be a done deal for the fuel lines now. 2-cycle on there, help it slide up. Now I'm going in blinds, I can't see it. Here we go, that's it for the fuel lines. It's not bad. That would probably stand to be a little bit, just a hair shorter, but that's okay. There we go. Good enough for me. So it takes care of that. So hopefully it runs. Plug back in there. Put our fuel cap back on. Done deal. So now we gotta get that back out of there. Had that so you guys could see, had it out of the way. So now your fuel filter for the fuel lines, we know it has spark, so who knows about the carburetor for sure. And the linkage on it does work the cable. It's definitely working the carb, the choke's working. So that's it. Put it back together and see what happens. Alright, we get the back on. The back is pretty basic. I'll show you real quick. It's just 4 nuts. These 4 right here. It's what holds the back piece on so it's not with a cushion actually. A little bit of a cushion. It just goes where these 4 nuts are at. You have this bracket. And you got, you know, like upper, right here's your bottom. And you got your upper right here, one on each side. So it's kind of webbed. It's got a decent padded back strap. So then we'll find out, get it together, and then we'll get some fuel.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright, prime it up. That primer works. This is the carb that guy put on it. I'm surprised. I was up a load on it. And as soon as you touch the throttle, it does. But he did say he didn't do nothing to it though. I got the stuff out here. So all he done was do the carburetor on it and then set in the garage for, what do you say, 2 years?
I think so. Carb for it. This doesn't have a, well, I can't say it's not the right carb. It doesn't have the air fuel mixture on it. I don't know if it's more it's 4-cycle or what, but something's definitely going on with the carburetor. It's not letting it rev up, but it runs. $5, a couple fuel lines. I thought I had an air filter that would fit it, but definitely not. Let's see how comfortable it actually is. I don't even know how hard this thing is to put on. definitely somebody skinnier. So,
That's twisted up there on the left-hand shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. The other side might be the same. For me, it definitely needs some adjustment. I think I can suck it in that far. Maybe, but this part's nice. Where the throttle is right here, it's adjustable for your arm length. It has a groove in it. You can just twist it and then get it where you want it, spin it back up, and it holds it. But yeah, just have to fine tune the carb a little bit. It's got the button to where you get it wherever you want, and it'll hold it. So you gotta do is swing it. But it works. Choking my gut, but it works. Oh. Just have to play with the carburetor a little bit, but $5 and $5, 2 fuel lines, fuel filter. Took about 40 minutes and it's running, so it was worth it. Craftsman, I mean, it's old, it's 15 years old. I think 15 years old, but it works. I don't know, that's it. That's it. Thanks for watching. I had a bit of throw an air filter on it and place carb, it's ready to go. Alright, we'll catch you guys at the next one.